Welcome back to First Take. The NFL heads overseas this weekend to Dublin, Ireland for the first time, where the Vikings will take on Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. Rodgers tied for second in the NFL in passing touchdowns. And his head coach, Mike Tomlin, is pleased with how that bad man has been performing so far this season. Let's hear from him.
Is he what you expected coming into this season?
He certainly has been, and not only in terms of his play, but in terms of his relationship with the game, how he interacts with teammates, how he loves the preparation process. All of those things have been double thumbs up. And so it's reasonable to expect the in-stadium performance to mirror that.
Mina, let's go to you first on this question. Across from Rodgers is Mr. Carson Wentz, who played well against the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 3. Which quarterback would you rather have in this matchup?
Carson Wentz.
My dog.
Oh, my God.
Some of it is,
my Lord.
a lot of it is competition. Just saying that. That's a big part of it. But Aaron Rodgers hasn't played well. I feel kind of crazy hearing folks say that the Steelers' passing offense looks fine. It's not fine. It's quite bad, in fact. It's all quick game. Am I wrong? It literally
But did you expect? I guess. Did you expect it to look better?
Yeah.
Really?
When he's pressured, he's 28th in QBR.
Yeah.
When he has to hold on the football for more than 2.5 seconds, he's also 28th. He has an average depth of target of 5 yards. That is dead last in the NFL. It's fine. They should have lost, by the way, to the Patriots, who fumbled that game away. This offense isn't good enough.
Right.
What are you seeing? What are people seeing in this offense? They can't run the ball. Rodgers doesn't push the ball downfield very often. He doesn't. If he has to hold on the ball for more than 2.5 seconds, it's dead.
I kind of think we all expected that, though. Like the Steelers' offense is operating how I expected it. Like
you're not disappointed watching the Steelers. You think this passing attack is fine?
I think that's what it is. Fine. I think it's fine. Fine. Like this offense is exactly what I thought it would be. Rodgers will get the ball out quick. They'll be fine in that. They can't protect. They can't run it. They can't throw it downfield. I'm way more disappointed than everything else.
That is an extremely low bar that you just laid out. They can't push the ball downfield. They can't run. Of course that's
with all due respect. Although I get what you're saying about Rodgers, and I certainly am not enamored with what I'm seeing from my Steelers right now, we're talking about Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Okay? This is his 6th game in 3 years. So what he went on the field against his dad. We came into the season wondering whether or not players on the defensive side of the ball for the Cincinnati Bengals should hide their names, shouldn't put their names on the back of the jerseys because they didn't want to be associated with their defense. That's how horrid the Bengals defense was perceived as being coming into this season. Now, I know they've been a little better than horrid since we've seen them over the first 3 games. Here's the bottom line. You're going up against the Bengals. You passed for 173 yards, a couple of touchdowns. I mean, you want a cookie? It's Carson Wentz that we're talking about here. We're going to really sit here with a straight face and say, we'd rather have Carson Wentz than Aaron Rodgers?
The Steelers' defense?
Stephen A., this is a tough 38 minutes for you, okay?
Why?
One,
how is it?
It's not even a conversation who you'd rather have this weekend.
Oh.
Because who you're with is the leading angle. One, against the Vikings defense.
I understand that part, but I'm just talking about the players. We get that Brian Flores and that defense is something real.
Well, that's the question.
But I'm just talking about in terms of their abilities. Carson Wentz compared to Aaron Rodgers, what is there to write home about Carson Wentz about? That's all I'm saying.
Because I'm not playing tennis one-on-one with them. The question is, what quarterback do I want this weekend?
Right, but then I could easily say, hey, okay, I'm going to take Carson Wentz because he's got to go against the Steelers defense, whereas Aaron Rodgers has to go against the Vikings.
Quite literally.
That's what's going to happen.
That's what they're doing. Yeah, but
that's
exactly what they're doing. I was speaking about, excuse me, I'm supposed to be enamored and awestruck over Carson Wentz?
No.
That's all I'm saying. That's where I was coming
Honestly,
from.
though, isn't, to me, the question, Dan, goes back to the question last week. Do you want Carson Wentz or J.J. McCarthy?
That's
the question.
That's the more debatable question.
And by the way, J.J. McCarthy wasn't much to write home about other than the fourth quarter against Chicago.
Yeah.
Let's not be fools here.
Right, and I know you watch the game the way I do. I know you watch the game the way I do. We could watch that tape. Like, that wasn't all about Carson Wentz.
No.
Brian Flores was amazing.
Ridiculous.
Isaiah Rodgers made a ton of plays. Jordan Mason ran the football, and you saw why they went out and got. I'm not talking about that, but you look at that first drive, the competency, the level of professionalism, the way he went through his reads, right? Second to last drive of the first half. Got right back down there. You score again. Then you open the second half with another big drive. Like, we haven't seen that team look like that offensively over a prolonged period. And so what happens is, you are right. Carson Wentz in this matchup has a better matchup than Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right.
What happens when Carson Wentz plays well this week?
Yeah.
What happens when the offense looks good again this week? What happens when they win again this week? We have to have the conversation of, is it J.J. McCarthy or Carson Wentz going forward?
They're having that conversation in Minnesota. I guarantee you.
Yeah, I think they should. I think it's fair. If
You heard the
Carson
way they're
Wentz,
talking about it?
I would tell you this. The biggest difference, again, Christian Darrisaw being back mattered.
Yes.
But Carson Wentz got rid of the ball so much faster than JJ. I love JJ. I'm a huge fan of JJ. I think he's got a very bright future. The game was too fast for him for the most part when he was in there. Carson plays well this weekend, and then I think they play in London next week against a good football team. If he plays well again the next 2 weeks, they'll have a bye after that. There is no question about it that they will have that conversation.
Oh, the stuff that y'all bring up sometimes, because let me tell you something. That might be a discussion, but I find it hard to believe. And if I'm management, I got to have a discussion with my head coach, Kevin O'Connell. You let Sam Darnold walk out the door after throwing 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and throwing for over 4,300 yards last year. You sat up there. You didn't want Aaron Rodgers in the offseason. You wasn't thinking about anybody else. Why? Because of a rookie that never threw an NFL pass yet. Now, all of a sudden, because Carson Wentz looked relatively decent, you're going to tell me that J.J. McCarthy is in danger of not regaining the starting nod?
One, if you sign Sam Darnold, you don't have some of the pieces that you have because they rebuilt their offensive and defensive lines. So the money part of that was a part of that. They took him at 10 or 12, excuse me. And then the third thing is this. Daniel Jones took less money to go to Indy than Minnesota tried to retain Daniel Jones. So, like, I'm just telling you, I don't think it's, like, happening yet. But I surely think if he plays well the next 2 weeks.
The reason that they're having that conversation, and we're all in agreement they are, is because the best unit on the field in this game is the Vikings defense.
No doubt.
That is a Super Bowl defense,
Yes.
and you can't waste a Super Bowl defense with incompetent quarterback.
Average quarterback play, they're an NFC championship contender in Minnesota. If Carson gives them that, it's going to be hard to take them off
I
the
don't think
field.
there's any argument there. I agree with that. Time to move on. Both the Chiefs and
areas. Okay, let's play a game of what if. Hawk.
Yes.
What if Joe Flacco and the Browns lose big to the Lions this weekend? What happens then?
I think it's par for the course. I don't see a relegation happening for Joe Flacco. I don't think anything he has or hasn't done or will or won't do will be a surprise to the Browns organization. I don't think they make a change at quarterback probably until week 6, 7.
6, 7.
I wanted to get you in there, Greeny. My kids are cringing right now.
Might be 6, 7, week 6, 7. I don't know. Sheffield, kidding aside. Yeah, kidding aside. The rookies. Everyone wants to see them. People want to see them. People look at that defense and they say this is a championship caliber defense, and they don't have enough offense, and they're wondering, could Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders be the answer?
Well, I know that 2 weeks ago I said that there was no sense of urgency within the Giants organization. They lost 2 games, and they made a quarterback change. I think it's similar here in Cleveland. There's no sense of urgency right now. Could they lose a couple of games and make a change? Sure. We see it happen all the time. I don't think today they're thinking like that in any way, shape, or form. Today, I understand that at some point we're going to get rookie quarterbacks in Cleveland.
Got to.
But it's not today.
We'll see when it is. Taylor, I'm jumping to you and Micah Parsons. What if Micah Parsons